Now, if you're close to your strict ring muscle up but can't quite get over the line and get that repetition, this exercise could fill the gap. Be the thing that you need to be able to go from this position up to here, pass through the transition and push up for your first strict ring muscle up. Now let's talk about wrist prep. Now this is really important, especially for me, because I do so much handstand work. Now if you're the same, you're going to have quite good flexibility in this range, but this is going to be super tight. Now we need to make sure that we have a strong false grip, especially if we want to go all the way down to the straight arm position for a hang position in a false grip, because we run out of space here and we'll lose our false grip because of flexibility. So we need to make sure that this is opened up quite a bit. So I'd be hanging out in this position. So when you get there, fingers pointing back, palms up, and then externally rotate. So the crease of the elbow comes forwards. So spending lots of time in that position, make sure that's nice and happy. You can try and close the fist, which is super tight. Another great one is to close the hand into a tight fist, put the knuckles together, put the back of the palms on the floor, and then try and straighten the arms as good as you can, or as much as you can in that position. Now notice that I'm struggling to get my arms straight here. That's lack of flexibility there. See, my fingers want to open up. So a lot of people who have good flexibility in that range will be able to straighten their arms all the way there comfortably. Now they're not going to need to do so much wrist prep. Someone like myself should do a lot more. If not, we're going to be slipping out of that false grip too early. And then the other thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to tape up. This is personal choice. It depends how much you want to tear up here. There's a certain amount of conditioning that needs to happen to stop you tearing. What I recommend you do is not wear tape to the point where you nearly tear, and then when you're about to tear, stick some tape on, and then over time you'll be able to do more work before you start to need the tape. The other way to do it is always tape. Now that's cool unless you want to muscle up without the tape, or where you forget the tape one day, but that will stop you getting some sort of scarring or tough skin in that area. So pros or cons. This is just standard strapping tape as well, like physio strapping tape. So I'm just tearing off enough to go around the wrist once, and then I'll go around. Now you need to be a little bit careful how you put this on, because what you don't want to do is limit your range of motion by the tape. So you don't want to make it too tight so you can't get into a flexed position. For me there, I can still get into flexion, but you can see there's going to be tape where the ring is going to be. And then the same on the other side. So check, I can still get into that range with the tape on. Now our warm-up is also going to be our prerequisites to work the strict ring muscle up. So we need to have strong chin-ups. So again, really good warm-up for this drill, for working the muscle up, is banging out a few chins. And the same with the dips. So coming all the way down so you can touch the ring, and then all the way back up to your support position for 3 to 5 reps is a good warm-up. Then number 3, we need to really understand and condition the transition. So the top of the false grip chin up brings me up nice and high, and then I pass through to the bottom of the dip, and then I come back again. Now notice how close my hands are staying to my chest through that movement, and I'm also going from a extended with my chest facing up in the air position to a downward facing bottom of a dip position. Look at my eyesight, I'm looking down, to looking up. So it's important that we pull to this position, we go for the transition and end up there. So understanding that pathway and becoming very strong and conditioned of going from this position, so the false grip. So notice that my hand is on top of the ring, but I might be underneath the ring in my chin up position, and then I pull, and then I'm pushing down all the time through that transition. And my hand rotates from this position, because that's going to allow me to get very high, and then it rotates through to the bottom of the dip. So spending lots of time there with repetitions, always use that as your warm-up, a few chins, a few dips, lots of transitions. And if it's weak, condition that false grip position with false grip hangs, false grip chin-ups, and false grip rows. So now we've ticked off those prerequisites, we've done a good warm-up with the chins, the dips, and the transitions. Now I'm going to give myself a little bit more help by putting a chalk line down there. That's exactly where I want the ring to sit. So notice that position. Notice it goes onto the ring there. Now it's in contact that whole time. So that one looks like that. That one looks like that. Now we're ready to do the yo-yo type movement, or the partial range muscle up. So I'm going to start in the dip. So top of the dip position, I'm going to come down slightly, go backwards a little bit, and then just come back again. Now notice that was a tiny amount of movement towards the transition, then I change direction, come back up again. So that's going to be relatively easy. And then we're going to start to make the movement a little bit deeper to do exactly the same thing. So come down, backwards a little bit more, then back up, back out again. Rest if that feels okay. Then I'm going to drop it down a little bit further. But now watch, as I start to take the elbows backwards more, my legs are going to go in front of me more, because as my body comes this way, my lower body needs to compensate that way. And then when I come back, it's that movement again. Remember that what we use for handstand push-ups, crow to handstand, L-sit to shoulder stand, that movement where the shoulders and head go forwards and the hips go in the opposite direction. So watch what happens. So here, down, go back a little bit further, legs come forwards, pull back, back up again. And I'd recommend you video from the side. So what we're looking for is getting to the point where we can bring this elbow lower than the hand, lower than the ring, and then to be able to come back up again. Now, when you hit that point, you're basically doing something that I think is harder than the muscle up itself, because with the muscle up itself, you're pulling up and you're using momentum, especially if you can make it one movement. So you pull from the bottom and then you start the transition and go through to the bottom of the dip, and then even up to your support position as one, instead of pulling to here, stopping, losing all that momentum, and then trying to get over the top for the muscle up itself. Where if we can make it one thing, that's really good. With this movement, we're having to change direction. So I'm coming down, going to that point, past the hands, back again, and then having to push back out. So that's way harder than the muscle up. So if you get into that type of depth, I recommend that then you rest 2 to 3 minutes and then have a go, see if you can pull from this position and go through and do the muscle up. Because if you're coming down that deep, you should have it ready to go. If it doesn't work, rest again, do some more partial range, yo-yo movements, and then try the muscle up again. Now, whichever of these muscle up drills you're using, just make sure that you're actually tracing the pathway of the real thing. So something like an eccentric muscle up, where we're starting at the top, coming down, going through the transition, and then coming back down again. If we reverse the video, it should look like the real thing. If it doesn't, if my body's going completely different position, then it's not going to help us towards the real thing. Make sure whatever you're doing, whether it's the yo-yo movement, it should look like the pathway it's going to take when we do the real thing. So have a play with that one. Hopefully that'll get you across the line. If it doesn't, check you can do those slow eccentrics. Check your chin up is strong enough. Check your false grip flexibility and strength is strong enough. Check your dips are there from the top all the way down until that bicep touches the ring and back up again. Make sure you're videoing yourself so you can spot any gaps. Let me know if you've got any questions down below. Reach out if you'd like coaching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.